I can remember vividly that I was in my living room and I was kneeling and I was praying for the unborn, and my heart was so burdened, and I was crying and just asking God to do something. And then God says to me, well, what are you doing about it? And I was so convicted, because what had I been doing about it? I've been praying, and of course that's important, but sometimes you need to put legs to your prayers. So I immediately got up, and I think I called Cindy Sumi that day. She was the director at the time, and asked when was the next class that I could be trained to be a counselor. So that's how it all began with me. And then I have worn many, many hats in this ministry. I went from counselor to prayer coordinator to board member. And then when Debbie Salinas left the ministry, I was chairman of the board. And then as we were having problems finding a director and everything, the board decided that I would make a good director for a while. So I did say yes, and I was director for 5 years. But then I decided that it was time for me to take care of my grandchildren, and it was time for someone else to take over. At that time, we were trying to go medical. We were frustrated because we were working with Focus on the Family, and we passed everything. We were eligible to get an ultrasound machine, but we didn't have any medical people. So I was like banging my head on the wall, trying to see how we could do this, and we just couldn't. It was just like the door was shut. So very frustrated, treading water, but still knowing that God had a purpose and a reason for what He was doing, and we were part of it. So then I heard about Chelsea, who was working at a pregnancy support office somewhere. And so I said to her mother, do you think that your daughter would be interested in taking the directorship? And Barb was like, oh no, she's not going to come back here. And I said, well, you know what, I'm going to ask her. So I did ask her, and she said yes. And it was God's timing. And that, if I have not learned anything in this ministry, it's that God has His timing. And when it's His timing, things take off. I was almost a little jealous because nurses were knocking at her door and doctors were willing to come on board. It was just magnificent to see what God had planned for this ministry. And I am so grateful and thankful to be a part of it from way back when, and still praying diligently for everyone. But God has a plan, and He is really working mightily through Life Choices.